Number one problem that I see when I go into these Christian-based like improvement communities, whether it's online, whether it's in person, when you get to know most people and you talk with them and you ask them what's their number one issue, I would say a solid 80 to 90% of them say it's some kind of lust. And that's interesting because one of the reasons for that, and a couple reasons for that, is because things like porn, social media, where it's like girls or inappropriate things, is very, very easy to access. But two, it's a very deep desire. And a lot of people cope and say, I've heard this one before, it's my testosterone level, so I need to watch these things to like improve it even further. No. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit of my experience, and I'm going to be kind of teaching you how to overcome it, or how I did it at least, and maybe you can take away some key points. Again, nothing's 100% for sure, but if you follow these things, I guarantee it will help you at least a little bit. One of the main things that why it's such a struggle is because not a lot of people talk about it very openly. So I'm going to be giving you my experience here, and it's going to get very deep. So just try and still have a good image of me because it's a long time ago and everybody struggles with something. All right. I was exposed to porn and I was addicted to it when I was in first grade and I was 7 years old. It was a case of my friend was one of the first people I knew with a phone, like obviously other than my parents. And he was like taking me to the corner of the room and was like, hey, look at this thing. Like, and he just showed me. And I was like, whoa, people do that? I thought it was like a weird trick or whatever. He told me not to talk about it. I never spoke about it. What's done was done. It took me up until I was around 13 or 14 to end up quitting. So that's around a 7 year process. And when I was around 10 was when I actually realized that it was a problem. So I knew it was a problem for 3 years, and I wasn't like raised Christian. I wasn't born into like a super Christian household. My mom's Catholic, I think, but me saying I think is literally a testament to we don't really know what we are. So I'm really the only like Christian one. It was my own decision basically, and back then I wasn't Christian in the slightest. And it took me from 10 all the way up to around 13 or 14 to stop like 90%. Every once in a while, like I would relapse because that's when I learned about there's this movement online. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called NoFap, which is like you basically don't watch porn, you don't do social media, and like you don't masturbate basically. And I was trying that, and every once in a while I would slip up, but it was nothing big deal. Like it wasn't a problem largely. Up until I became 15 was when I stopped completely. So I'm 16 now and I've been off for like a year and I haven't watched it like at all. From like 15 to, I don't know, 16 and a half now. I maybe watched it like once after I turned 15 and I was like, I'm 15 now. Like, am I really going to be looking at all this? And I stopped. I was at the lowest of the low. And I'm going to be telling you some of the things that I consumed because I know some people watch some wacky stuff, and I know you're looking at me thinking, "Oh, the Christian guy thinks he's better than me, and he doesn't understand like the addiction." I'm gonna tell you straight up, some of the things that I watch. Oh, Jesus Christ! I have a PowerPoint presentation here for myself, and it's bad. So there was anime porn, which is like cartoons basically. Think about, well, don't think about that, but imagine being in that situation. Imagine being like 10, 12, 13, 14-ish years old and watching that. There was, oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm putting this on the internet. It's the goal of helping people. Furry porn, which is like animal on animal type shit. Understand? Dude on dude. I didn't like it. I promise. That was like a one time thing, but it's something that I experimented with because, again, everybody fucks up or everybody struggles in some way. Multiple people at once. So, like, instead of like when you bang, it's two people or whatever, it was like tons of people piled in. And then it was a combination of all of them. So, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that you have struggles, that you watch some crazy shit. And I'm swearing here, not for the sake of like, I'm being an asshole to you or whatever, but do you just hear what I read off? Anime porn, furry porn, dude on dude action, 20 dudes, one chick. That's my note. and a combination of all of them. I've been there, and it's not very uncommon. When I speak to people even in person, not just online, when we get into like deep conversations, that's all normal. And that's what really scares me. And there's a movement now of like porn companies being banned, at least where I live in the United States, but it's still a huge problem for a lot of people. And it's still not that hard to access. So I'm going to be giving you, or here we're going to define sin. So what even is sin? We're talking about it, but you might even not understand like the definition. Sin, or lust, is a Greek word. So it means a desire, a craving, a longing for things that are specifically forbidden. So commonly it's used for things that are forbidden. So we understand that something that's not allowed. Forbidden means to forbid, which means that it's against the code of a group of people or a person. Matthew chapter 5 verse 28 says that Jesus described lustful thoughts as adulterous. So just thinking sin lustfully, I'm getting sin and lust confused. Just thinking lustfully is enough for it to be considered adultery, which is a sin in the Bible. 1 John chapter 2:16 says, those who desire flesh are putting worldly values over God himself. That's not like a direct quote that I took, but that's like me paraphrasing. It's longer than that. But it essentially says, if you want to like open up your Bible, which I have right here, those who desire flesh, those who desire worldly things are putting those values over God himself. James chapter 1 verses 14 through 15. This is a direct quote. But each person is tempted when he is allured and enticed by his own desires. So each person is tempted with their desires. And then desires, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin. So when you have desires and you make an actionable on them, you fill what your body wants and your brain wants, that's the thing that leads you to sins. Having desire isn't a bad thing. If you want to watch the porn, if you want to do the inappropriate thing, or you want to cheat on your wife, or you want to lie to someone, that's not inherently bad in itself. The desire isn't the bad thing. It's the action that is the problem. So I'm going to be teaching you how to not do the action, because the desire is always going to be there. Sometimes it's going to be lower, sometimes it's going to be higher, sometimes you're going to crave it. Just like any other addiction. With junk food, sometimes you crave junk food, sometimes you don't. And I'm going to be teaching you, I think, at least 6-ish things, 5-ish things in a second on how you can actually fix that. So, in summary, sin and lust is a selfish desire where you think sexually about a woman or a man, even though God has commanded you not to. So, in the Bible, lust is a sin, which is why we as Christians do not do it. How can you fix it? Just to clarify, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just a guy who was on self-improvement for 4 years, transitioned into fully Christianity, stopped being a lukewarm Christian. I'm a really bad Christian apologist, so bear with me. If I say anything wrong, let me know, but I'm going to try and give you the best advice that I can. Take everything I said as a thought and not an absolute godly fact. I'm not speaking like the word of God unless like I quote a Bible verse, and even then I could be interpreting it wrong. So just bear with me. If there's something that makes sense, follow it. If there's something that you're like, let me think about that, research it, learn on your own, and then you can like leave a comment or whatever explaining like, hey, this means this, and then we can get on with that. So, how can you fix it? Now we're actually in the meat and potatoes, nine minutes in. So, first thing is God. First thing is putting your identity in God specifically. So specifically, reading the Word, praying, doing Bible study. There's something that I enjoy doing every morning for around probably like 30 to 60 minutes. I do a Bible study, and I'll have ChatGPT. I actually have ChatGPT run it with me, and it'll give me a verse. It'll give me like a message of the day. You can literally just ask it, hey, run me through a Bible study. And if you want to like customize things, you can. A lot of people are weird about ChatGPT, but I promise you, it's literally just as smart as any other preacher, because the Bible is a text that doesn't change, and ChatGPT pulls opinions from everywhere, and that's just a human in general. Just ChatGPT is smarter. I'm not saying like never go to church or anything, but if you have a conversation with ChatGPT about Christianity, then it's going to give you probably similar, if not better, advice than a lot of pastors, because just it has more information. And obviously it doesn't have the feeling aspect or whatever, but just if you use your human brain, and if you go, that doesn't make sense, then just don't listen to that advice. But if you're like, whoa, that really makes sense, like that's smart, oh, I didn't think of it like that, and it gives you evidence for why what it said is true, then there's nothing wrong with that. So you put your identity in God. And how you do that is you become a Christian, you do the outward expressions of Christianity, you wear your cross, you get baptized. I haven't been baptized yet. I plan on doing that not probably, as soon as possible. I live at home, and that's not like a thing my family does. But at some point that will happen. Just trying to act godly in general. And not godly as in you are God, but godly as in you follow the Bible, you follow the rules of Christianity to your best of your ability, and you genuinely try and feel remorse for when you do wrong. And you pray and repent, and after you repent, that's when you feel better. Back to Bible study. Something that I do in the morning is, first thing, I wake up anywhere between, this morning I woke up at like 4:40, thank God. I wake up in between like 4:30, 5:30, depending on the day, like depending on what time I went to bed that night. And what I'll do is I'll sit down, talk to ChatGPT. It'll give me like a verse of the day to study. It'll give me the main message for the day. So today was like spiritual warfare. So it's talking about how there's like, I don't know how to decipher this. It's talking about how when you sin, essentially, it's kind of giving alms to the enemy. It's kind of helping the enemy in their action, which is in Christianity it's defined as like the devil or whatever you want to call it, negative desires, worldly desires, whatever. And when you stand with God, you can fight with him. And it's been explained to me different ways. Some people say, no, don't fight. You just stand and like let God do the work. Other people say you fight, but with God backing you, so you're stronger. I don't really understand how it works, but I like the fighting thing more because that's more interesting. And I tried the standing thing for a while, and it didn't click with me as much. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But do the Bible study. It'll give you like verse of the day if you ask it to. It'll ask you like reflection questions, so you can just write down the like answers to the questions. So if it's talking about like fighting like bad urges, for example, it can ask you, hey, what urges have you been having recently that you've been fighting by yourself and haven't asked God to help you with? And if you answer it like to ChatGPT, it'll give you like verses that explains it, and it'll literally tell you, no, you need to fight with God on this because X, Y, and Z. It's literally like having a conversation. One of the best ways to learn is talking to someone who's smarter than you in the thing that you want to learn, who's also really good at teaching it. That's exactly what ChatGPT is. It sounds a little bit funny. This is probably going to be like a movement that I lean into in a little bit, or in a couple weeks, months, however long. But it's something that's very important and something that you should probably be doing. Third thing, under God, there's 2 or 3 bullet points for each section, each of the 6 sections. Third thing, bring the issue to him as much as possible and live in expectancy. So unless it's a worldly desire that you want, God doesn't make you wait. If it's something that you're fighting, if it's a difficulty, if it's a feeling, if it's something bad that is in your spirit, God will cleanse you as soon as you're ready for him to. If you live in the expectancy, and this is a really powerful message that one of the pastors that I listened to taught me. When you live in expectancy, you expect to get the thing that God is willing to give you. And it takes away kind of all the stress from it. And you don't live in expectancy in the way of like, oh, I want $1 million, so give me $1 million. No, it's expectancy of, I want $1 million. I feel really driven to making money for some reason. Maybe it's God, maybe it's worldly desires, but right now I think it's God. Lord, I pray that you can show me the way to make this $1 million. And I live in expectancy that whatever path that you put me on is the best path for me. And right now, I think that you want me to make this $1 million. So I'm going to think that that's what I'm meant to do. But I expect what you want for me. And if this isn't what you want for me, then I won't do it. That's a better prayer than I want $1 million, so I expect $1 million. You see what I mean? It's a big difference. So that's it for God. I might come back to it, but that's all like for the main lecture. Next thing, environment. Most people relapse in the morning or night because they're in bed, they have their phone in their hand, and it's just a huge thing. Literally, most practical thing you can do. Just don't sleep with your phone. Don't have your phone in your bed. I have one phone over by my bed because I fall asleep with like white noise and I don't use it. I've literally just built up the habit of not using my phone in bed. I just like have white noise or a video playing or a podcast or whatever, and I'll like fall asleep while watching it. And on the other side of my room, I have an alarm. I have two phones because I have an old one and I have a new one, and I just kept the old one. That one doesn't have service or anything. It's all like cracked up. But if you only have one phone, just put it on the other side of the room. My phone is right there. I'm in my room right now. My bed is right there. You see how I'm pointing to one and the other? Just don't have it in your sleeping space, especially if you know that you're going to relapse. And if you're used to watching videos or whatever at night, it's really, really difficult, and the urge is going to come. But if you're watching videos and you get the urge, if it's nighttime, you're probably too tired because you've been watching videos all morning. Just like gently toss your phone onto the floor. Most bedrooms have carpet. If you don't have carpet, literally just like set it down and slide it because it's tile. Take off the case, slide it. If you live with siblings and they're like, what are you doing? And you share a room with whatever, be like, I don't want to be on my phone right now. You don't have to give them an answer. Why do you have to give them an answer? Just tell them, I don't want to be on my phone right now. That's going to help. Just another example, because I thought of it while scripting this. I have a TV in my room. I used to watch porn on that TV because it was pre-downloaded on the TV, which, just think about that. It was pre-downloaded for me when I got the TV. That's how bad the problem is. I didn't download it, unless it was like my parents when they gifted it to me, because it was like a hand-me-down, but they said they wiped it. Like they completely like factory reset it. If what they were telling me is true, which I 50-50 believe them, I would literally, you have to understand the issue. It's pre-downloaded. Of course you're going to watch it if you have a TV in your room. And you know how like YouTube videos have a thumbnail or whatever? It literally had a thumbnail of people banging. What the fuck? So please, for the love of God, make it as difficult as possible for you to do these things. All about your environment is placing Bibles wherever you can. Let's say this chair is where I normally sat. Bible, right here. Look. Nobody masturbates with a Bible in their hand. Just always have a Bible in your hand. It's not that hard. You just need to clean it up. You just need to clean up your environment, and you just need to make it to where you're in a space to where you're not going to do that. That leads me to my next point. Clean up your room. Clean up your workspace. Clean up your environment. Wherever it is that you normally masturbate or you watch porn, just clean it up. Clean up the apps on your phone, on your laptop, reorganize things. Even if there's not a point to it, just reorganize it. This is going to help shape your identity. This is going to help set your brain into a new space. This is very scientific. I'm just not using scientific words. Clean up your room. Clean up the area by your bed. Wash your dirty, sweaty sheets. We've all been there. Space is clean. When it's difficult to access the things that you previously accessed. When you want to quit something, when you want to start something, the things that are around you really make it easier. It's very difficult if let's say you've never exercised before, and you also don't wake up early. You normally wake up at like 12 p.m. It's very difficult to wake up at 3 p.m., to go to the gym, to do exercises you've never done before, to work out 3 hours a day for some reason, to do cardio, to do stretching, to do everything put together every single day constantly, than it is to if you wake up and like at a regular time, you wake up at your normal time, like eat a nice breakfast and then go into your garage where your home gym is. See how the environment shifts a thing? Even if you still train like 1 billion hours, which you probably wouldn't do, that makes no sense, especially if you're starting out, and I can get into all the exercise science of that, but that's not the point of like this channel. But please understand that your environment shapes it, and you want to make it as easy as this is just for habits in general. You want to make it as easy as possible for you to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish, and as difficult as possible to do the thing that you don't want to do. When you're watching like adult content like that, when you're doing the actions that you're doing before, you normally do them in the same place, same time, in the same way. And you know the build up. And if you can make the build up as difficult as possible, then you just won't do it as much. That's not to say you'll never do it, because if you want to do something, you're going to figure out a way to do it. But it'll be harder. And when it's harder, you'll do it less. That's the main thing. Next thing, progressive overload. Or progressive overload, which is that's like a weightlifting term where as you get stronger, you put more weight on the bar so you can continue to get stronger. If you just did the same weight all the time, then you wouldn't progress as much because it's not as difficult as it was when you first started with that weight, because you're getting stronger and you're building more muscle or whatever. Like me. Ooh. Your goal right now is to stop watching porn. Then it'll be to stop using Instagram or YouTube, for example, if that's like what you regularly use to see like fitness models or OnlyFans girls or whatever. Next thing is you'll begin to only have like your brain. You'll only be able to reminisce on like the old memories. So you've quit all social media when it comes to that, all like online stuff. Maybe you go down to like physical pictures or whatever, but that's a little weird in this century. At that point, once it's kind of just in your head and you're not like watching anything, that's when it becomes a lot less of a problem. And the most important thing is to just live with the mindset of improvement. You want to figure out how to improve the issue, not stop it completely, but how to make it better. And when you do that, especially in like all facts of life, but just talking about like lust and like adultery, I get the words mixed up. Just in those contexts, you just want to make it better, because it takes anywhere between 20 and 60 days to form a habit. And if you just said, I'm going to stop right now, at around day 3 to 5, maybe even day 1, you're going to realize, oh, this is kind of hard. I'm not able to do this. If you progress slowly and slowly and slowly, every couple of days, make small changes, then eventually, once you hit that 20 to 60 day mark, it's going to be a lot easier than if you just cut it cold turkey. And some things you do need to cut cold turkey. I'm not even going to dispute that. Some things do genuinely need to be just completely gotten rid of. But not this. It's way too addictive. It's way too easy. And that's why it's such a problem. So just number one thing, live with the mindset of progressive overload. Again, next point, it takes 20 to 60 days to form a habit. The first 20 to 60 days are going to be the hardest. Because how it works is the fascia in your brain, like the thing that holds your brain together, has neurons, and they form specific pathways to have you have urges and emotions and different types of things. That's why if you punch someone in the face who's never been punched before, that's why like they flinch and they do this kind of stuff and they start crying or whatever. But if you punch Mike Tyson in the face, he's gonna like spit out the tooth that he just lost and then maul you. Same action, but different pathways, different brain structure. And it takes 20 to 60 days to destroy, or it takes 20 to 60 days to destroy a pathway, and then it takes even less time to form a habit. It's a lot easier to form a habit than to get rid of one, because it's kind of the opposite of the old saying, actually. Because I was thinking in my head that it's easier to tear down a building than to create one. But in this case, it's kind of easier to create a building than destroy it. So think about that. But it's hard because it has to do at the same time. So you have to break the habit of porn, masturbation, all that kind of stuff. But you have to form a new habit of not doing it. You have to form a new habit of when you would normally watch porn or whatever, you pull out your Bible, or you do Bible study, or you pray. And yeah, it's hard. And usually it takes between 20 and 60 days. Next and final thing, the 5-minute rule. Most urges only last for 5 to 10 minutes. And a lot of people give in during this time. If you wait literally 5 to 10 minutes before doing the thing that you don't want to do, usually you're not going to want to do it anymore. Sometimes you will. A lot of the time you will. Probably like still 40%, 50% of the time. You'll still want to. Maybe some people 80%. Again, it's highly genetic. But even though it's highly genetic, you were given that genetic by God, and God commanded you not to do this thing, and He wouldn't give you like a handicap, knowing that it would be impossible for you to accomplish what He's asked you to do. So that means that while it's harder for you, it's still possible. And maybe it's hard for you because you're going to do something similar to what I'm doing. You're going to try and help people when it comes to understanding things better. You were super lustful just by default, so you're going to try and help people and not be that way, who are also very lustful. And you're going to try and give them the advice that worked for you. And some people will mess with it, some people won't. I'm not saying like 100% for certain you're going to be like God's gift to teaching lust. But you're going to have a friend one day who's struggling with it, who cheated on his wife, who his wife left him, and like it's a huge issue because he couldn't control his lust. And after the fact, you're going to teach him, or you're going to be able to teach him, hey, this is what you need to do, what you not to do. And then his next wife, who was actually his like future wife and the person he was destined to be with, he won't do that to them because you helped them. Isn't that like a really nice story? So you're not only doing this for yourself, you're doing this for all the people that you can help. This is why I identify as an apologist, because I really enjoy improvement. And I really dislike in the Christian community that there's so little emphasis put on actually improving yourself, because the Bible doesn't really talk about it like specifically. It talks about spiritual improvement, but everything like for yourself, no, we don't talk about that. Well, that's not the case. Improvement is one of the best gifts God could have gave us. Literally second to free will, in my opinion. And the free will allows us to improve. Use it, because we set the standard for Christians. And if we want to convert more people to Christianity, if we want to set a higher standard for the other Christians around us improving in a godly, purposeful way, in all aspects, whether it's health, fitness, mindfulness, or spirituality, mindfulness, education, all these different subjects. Obviously, do something you care about, do something that you align with, but you should try and like fit in all of these things. Try and improve. That's the most important thing. You're not just doing this for you. You're doing this for you, the people around you, your future bloodline. You're doing this for God. You're doing this for all kinds of reasons. And you being able to accomplish this with His help, you have one of the best helpers in the world, the literal creator of help itself. You are able to do that. So, pray on it. Do these actions. Try your best to follow them as well as possible. You're not going to be consistent 100% of the time, but setting the standard of being consistent 100% of the time and only being consistent 80% of the time versus setting the standard of being consistent 80% of the time and only being consistent 60% of the time, you'll do a lot better when you set the standard to be 100. And you need to have the healthy kind of mindset of, I want to be 100% consistent, but I know I'm not going to. And that's fine, but I'm still going to try. And sometimes for a couple of days, couple of weeks, you will be 100% consistent. But there's always going to be like that 1, 2 days, 3 days in a row where it's like, this is horrible. I can't do this anymore. But then after that, that's your body's way of naturally resting. It's even better if you put like actual rest days into your life routine. So like Sundays, for example, I started actually like taking easy days where I just learn, or I'll do something fun, or I'll literally play like games all day and just chill. That's helped me a lot, and it's allowed me to be most consistent with waking up early I've been in my life, most consistent with work I've been in my life, most consistent with school and fitness, but that's a little bit like 50-50. I've been on that for a couple years, and it's something that I've kind of lost passion for, so I'm remodeling how I look at it. That is everything. If you want support in any of this, don't leave yet. If you want support in any of this, you can join the community link below. It's called the Christ Improvement Community. It's basically Christianity mixed with self-improvement. So it's for Christians who want to improve themselves, and it's a group of people that are eventually and are coming together on how to improve as much as possible. And we're going to talk about like Christianity and improvement and fitness and mindset and all that kind of stuff. My name has been Brandon. Keep doing the best at doing your best. Trust God. Signing off.